Hello and welcome, guys. I do apologise, a bit of a technical hitch and kind of spontaneous things going on, but we've managed to get here. Not got all the guests that I did uh, kind of invite to tonight, but that only means that can be more rolled over for another one. But thanks a lot for jumping on. Tonight's guest is going to be Ian Oakey. We're going to be talking all matters Hull, and we're obviously talking to a chap that I've not spoke to before, so it'd be nice to find out why he's here in this position. Ben Lawerence, an organiser that's got an event coming up in Manchester on the 27th of August. So I've got a little promo video. We'll chat to Ben, see about his history, see what he's been doing, see what he feels about what currently is going on as well. So it'll be an interesting little chat, guys. Please like and share. Also, this will be available on my other channel, which is Red Pill Phil on Facebook. With that, I'd like to give a massive thank you to childrensmatter.news, and also, without saying anything, it has to be said, big up to Katie Jane Swallow as well. So with that, guys, here we go. Nice one. Red Pill Phil on childrensmatter.news.
Red pill, Phil. 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 Red pill, Phil.
Yes, right. Without further ado, Ian, how are you doing, sir? You okay?
Very good, sir. Yourself?
Yeah, just about getting a bit moderate, the temperature now, so life's becoming a bit more manageable now. Let me put it that way. Jesus.
Yeah, I'm just watching a storm brewing outside. It's coming in.
Oh, man. Have you got a canoe, Andy?
Yeah, I might need one.
Should we crowdfund for one now while we've got the chance? Get it delivered over to you. Oh, mate.
I've got down to Dover. There's plenty of dinghies down there.
Oh, mate, I tell you, it's a bit different for us handling all these different variable temperatures and then going from one to the next, going from perfect sunshine to then flooded areas. It's a bit wild. People have had enough on the plate over the past few months, but you know what, mate? We've got good old English spirit, haven't we? We'll get through this. So, how's life in Hull, mate? What's been going on?
Yeah, it's been since last time we chatted. There's quite a lot happened, really. On the last stream we had, I was just saying earlier, we came off the stream and loads of messages coming through. Ian, is it true? Is it true? And apparently there's going to be an independent inquiry into the Humberside Police's handling of Operation Marksman. That's been or has been conducted by Essex Police, Operation Hydrant. The news broke on Essex News and Investigations website. I've since spoke to some of the survivors and they've been informed that it's been looked into. And it was actually Humberside Police who put themselves forward for this independent inquiry on the handling, if they've handled it correctly, have they done what they should have done, etc., etc. So now we're just sort of sat waiting for the results of it coming in. It's supposed to be in shortly. It has now been completed, apparently. When it's going to be published, I'm not sure. We haven't been told. That's certainly an interesting thing, but I'm sure that it won't be an independent inquiry. It'll be an inquiry by all means, but is it independent? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, one, it'd be nice to get confirmation that this is going, because like you said, you kind of put me to rest a little bit, because I looked at this, that I was sent this link from Debbie, and it kind of intimates that it's more of a confirmed event, and what you're kind of saying is that there's been murmurs of it, people are talking, there are things going on, but we don't know how far and as to when it's going to happen, and there's been no confirmed inquiry that's going to actually transpire at this moment.
No. like you say, it hasn't been confirmed from the police. However, I do have a meeting with the police on Monday evening. So I shall certainly be putting a few questions to them to see where we stand with things, which is a step in the right direction, because they've contacted me for a meeting, even though I've been telling them that we've got our planned protest on the 17th of September, and I've had nothing for months. Then all of a sudden they've sent me a reply to arrange a meeting next Monday evening, which is good. At least they're sort of coming to me now. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But
I don't want to be pessimistic here, Ian, because that's a good event, but it depends on their intent and what that meeting for them, what they want to get out of that, really.
exactly.
As well. You want to see it, and I want to see it, is that they're actually coming to the table now, but they might actually say to you, well, dude, you might have to, I'll curtail you in some way, or give you something that you don't want to hear as well. But like I say, let's hope it's not about that.
Well, absolutely. I'll go with obviously with the way I've approached everything at the moment, with an open mind, look at what's put in front of me, and then analyse it, and then move forward with things. Let's just see what they have to say. The girls have they've been informed about this, but they haven't been approached for any further interviews or anything. So that's sort of, and as far as they're concerned, it's gone quiet, really. But yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes, see what happens over the next few weeks. And that's
What do you think of? Do you think this is a deliberate event in terms of the different cities that now seem to be more headline news? Grooming seems to be more of a coffee table discussion now. When I say that, I mean this has been brought up by both potential prime ministers, and whether they liked it or not, at least one of them, Liz Truss, it was kind of put upon her to reply on this subject, but particularly the other one, Mr. Sunak, he's made a public pledge on this. So do you think that this is a bit of continuity?
Is that a vote winner? I don't know. I don't think, if I was honest, why hasn't anything been done up to now? Why all of a sudden do they need votes? And they're telling people what they want to hear. I don't trust them. So I just think it's a vote. It's just to get the votes in. If they get voted in, what's going to happen? Oh yeah, we're going to. I just don't trust them. I think it's just a vote winner, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you might be right. Certainly, they do that. That happens all the time. They say lots of things that, we'll save you money here, we'll do this, we won't tax you here, and then they do. So they go back on the word frequently. And you could argue Liz was a bit smarter, because she did say, I'll think about it. She didn't say anything categoric by any means.
Exactly, yeah.
So she was being a little bit clever. But that still can be used against her, because the question was brought up, and she even spoke about how reprehensible the crime is. So there's an element of obligation with the pair of them, whether they like it or not, to come with something. Because if it is done for votes, then that means that you're relying on a big voting base to vote for you because of this. And that's the same voting base that can turn on your ass if you don't fulfill this.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, just going back a couple of steps, when I'm just looking at your article there that you've got up, what was sent from the Hull Daily Mail.
Yeah,
we can discuss in a second. But on the original article, which came from the Essex News and Investigation, what you were saying, is it because it's everywhere you look in the country, things are happening? And it does state in here, in the original one, it says the development comes after a series of 3 damning separate reports published in the last month identified major failings by police and social services in the handling of investigations into reports of similar historic child sex grooming across Rotherham, Oldham and Telford.
There we go. There we go, brother.
That's basically it. Because there's a lot of focus on these areas, Humberside Police, it's rattled them.
Yeah,
I personally believe they've been rattled.
yeah.
Our presence doesn't do them any favours. And I think, but it also states that, or the police have stated that they handed it over to Operation Hydrant in October of last year. But then further down in the original article, it states that in July of last year. So there's something not quite right again. One saying it's July, one saying it's October.
Discrepancy there.
If you read into all the different articles that are coming out, there's somebody's not getting the facts right. And then the article you've got above you is what it's got quite a few people up in arms, including the survivors, because the article in Old Daily Mail which was only published yesterday. So the original came out on the 5th of, no, it didn't, 20 something of July. They printed that yesterday, and it's a recycled article they did 4 years ago. And all they've done is changed a few words. They've even used the photographs of the survivors without permission again. They've quoted the girls saying things that was only relevant at the time and not now. So
it's lazy reporting.
It's lazy reporting, but that's what they're like. That's what Hull Daily Mail are like. They're absolutely useless.
You know, and you think, does that mean that they're not giving it time, but that they actually want to look like they're covering it? Because to me,
yeah,
as a reporter now, I would have to say, because I've had somewhat of a back history with this in all aspects of C.S.E, as well as on this issue with many different groups, I can see something happening now. So as a reporter, because it's been spoke about, I would want to be getting in there and start to develop a correlation. Now's the time to start doing all your proper digging now, because there doesn't seem to be that negative connotation that is being brandished back now. It seems to be more legitimate or more justifiable to talk about this without the left-right thing. I know that will still be there, Ian.
Oh yeah,
I do feel this is a climate change in a way for this subject.
Well, it would be great if they actually reported the facts and not recycled news.
Yes.
But as you know, we have meetings once a month. We now do it at both edges of the city. We do it on the west and the north and the east of the city now. And one of our meetings back in, so in March, we had one of the reporters came to the meeting. She was invited. She contacted one of our admin and said she wanted to come and see what we're about. As completely independent, just come and sit and listen to what we talk about, what we're doing, what our plans are, and with the review of doing a full article. That's great. By all means, come along. She sat there throughout the meeting. After the meeting, she called me. We sat in a corner. We went through everything. She wanted to do this article. She wanted this. She wanted that. Can we talk to the girls? Can we do this? Can we do that? And I said, well, you put everything down and I'll liaise with the girls. I'll work with you. Not a thing was heard since. That was it. That night, never came back to me. She hasn't replied to any of my emails, any of my text messages, absolutely nothing. And then the next thing we see is this article, a recycled article, 5 months later. All because it's coming to light, and it's in the nationals. It's in down in Essex reporting on it. So they've jumped on it because they feel they have to. Yeah, it's they're the local news. They can't report any local things.
They should be getting the scoop, and then everybody should be coming to them and going, right, what's the lowdown here, guys? Because you have got it all, Yeah,
absolutely. But no, so the admin had asked me the other night if you're approached, what you're going to do, and I told them I won't be speaking to them. They had the chance, so they won't be getting it again. Not from me, and certainly not from the survivors of Hull, because I speak to them and they said they will not speak to them.
Well, it's to be expected when you mess people about and you're not
Exactly.
sincere. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
trust goes, doesn't it? You know,
It does.
and
Yeah.
it's difficult. I mean, but the one thing I will say, these are professionals. It's one thing if that's the case with someone who's doing it on an amateur level. There's always a level of many things to juggle and da 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 da.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I'm going to throw myself in here. You know, I can't be everywhere. You can't do everything. So sometimes you might have to let people down or not fulfill you pledge or whatever. But try
Yeah.
and do it whatever way. But these are professionals. People are relying on their news source as legitimate, new, and informative. And if they're regurgitating news just to look like they're covering it,
Yeah.
it's a bit.
It's wrong.
Naughty.
That's all they've done is just say, "Oh, look, we know what's going on as well," but they're not reporting the up-to-date facts. You know, they have slipped inside that article. It does state that, you know, it's being investigated by Hydrant. Yes, there is a bit of new in there, but it's nothing new to anyone because this has been out for 3, 4, 5 weeks. So they're just late to the party again. When they should be the first ones in there, the local news.
The silly thing is, Ian, like I say, because of the background and because we've covered this, we know there's so much there. It's a question of where do you want to start?
Yeah,
Do you want
exactly.
to do you want to start on the survivors aspects of it? Do you want to start on the perpetrator aspects of it? Do you want to start on the religious aspects of it, the gang aspects of it? Do you want to go on the police and the judiciary aspects of it? There's so many different avenues that this is all being allowed, you know? But it's the uncomfortable truth that we'll have to bust open at some point, Ian, because
it'll all come to light, and that's what I was saying earlier. That you know, when I've said to the admin, I've put on the group as well for everybody. Just it's great news. At least it's out there in the open again, and it's being looked into. That's more than we had 6 months ago. Yeah. That's the way I look at it. You know, we're moving forward. It might be slow and it's not as quick as we ought to like it, but we are moving forward, which is a win-win for us. But we're not stopping for an hour ago. We'll still keep campaigning. We'll still raise the money for the girls to, you know, we want proper legal representation, which we've now we've got a legal guy looking into a few things for us. Obviously, I won't go into detail with that. But he's already found quite a few things, avenues we're going to be taking. But also, what we've also now decided to do, we set out to raise money for legal representation of the girls. But we spoke to the girls and asked them what they wanted, and one was they're not getting the help they need psychologically. You know, they're not getting the therapy. They're not getting help. Like I don't know if I've actually mentioned, we have one girl that lives in East Riding, but was abused in Hull. But because she was abused in Hull, East Riding won't pay for her therapy. But because she lives in the East Riding, Hull City Council won't pay for her therapy. So we're paying for it. We're actually doing, there's 4 of the girls, we're actually taking them equine therapy, it's called. So we're paying for that for them to help them because nobody seems to be caring. Nobody's bothered with them. You know, so we're still
equine. We're talking about horses there.
Horses, yeah.
Right.
The way that came about was one of the survivors. I would say that she's one of the. She's really different to what she was. She doesn't suffer so much. She's come out very strong from this, and it's something she did right in the beginning, and she told how good it was, how it really helped her, and she actually turned around, and if it wasn't for this equine therapy, she wouldn't be here today. That was her exact words, not mine, her words. So I contacted the group, and they've took us in with open arms. They've actually given me some really good advice as well. They're also a charity. So we're going on next Wednesday afternoon, myself and 4 of the girls, to a meet and greet, meet the horses, set up the programme. So we're paying for 6 therapy sessions for each of the girls. It's across the water in Scunthorpe. But yeah, so we'll carry on campaigning. We'll carry on raising money for things like this. You know, we've just set one of the girls up with a new apartment. all the furniture and fixture and fittings, because she had absolutely nothing. No help from the social as such. She got a bed and a fridge, I think it was. You know, so that's where our aim is at the moment. We're not. It's great if Operation Maximus are reopened next week. It'd be absolutely amazing, but we won't stop. Because we've got it open doesn't mean we're stopping. We'll just carry on. Because
I'm not being funny. You almost sound a little bit like we're not quite doing what we're supposed to be doing here. The way you, and maybe I'm wrong there, but what I would love to say here, you're actually doing more, because not only are you visibly campaigning, but the funds that you're raising is actually helping to therapeutically help survivors. So it's a twofold, dude.
absolutely,
You know, awareness.
yeah. It's sort of grown. How can I put it? When I set up United All Up, the main aim, the only thing in my mind was to get this operation reopened. That's all I wanted. I didn't even know the girls then. It was not on my mind. The mind was to go to the authorities and get them to answer the questions I had.
Yeah.
But it's progressed from that. Now I've met the girls, I understand them. I understand the situation a lot more. I went in, I can't say blind, but I didn't understand everything about grooming, how it worked, how it happened, what the consequences. I'll be honest, I didn't know nothing. But I picked it all up and I listen now. I mean, there's 8 of the girls now who regularly come to the meetings. We speak on regular occasions, and you know, all these sort of things. And I now understand a little bit more about how they suffered, how nobody listens to them, nobody believed them. And now I can, you know, we believe them, and they're so grateful for that. And then they're telling me the stories, and it's now I can take them to the therapy. You know, I'm helping them, or the group is helping them. I mean, the people of Hull have been absolutely amazing with the fundraising. You know, absolutely, I can't thank them enough. Without them, the United Hull would not exist. They've done it. You know, these girls are going next week on the first road of therapy with, you know, to find a better way of life because of the people of Hull. You know, they've come out in force and said, hang on, this is wrong. We want to help. And they've been amazing, absolutely amazing. You know, so it's grown from getting Operation Maximum open to helping these survivors as much as we possibly can, as every little bit helps them. You know?
I remember the march, Ian, a couple of survivors were almost happy just to know that people were listening.
Yeah.
Remember? So when you go from that to now, they've not only have they got an army, but they've got an army of people that are actually helping and facilitating in their evolution, their journey, just like what you've just said there, mate, because I can resonate with that because that happened to me. I didn't intend to talk matters C.S.E. when I was on my YouTube. I didn't intend to talk about anything. I didn't intend to have a channel. So everything I've been doing has just been a journey. That's all I can put it down to. I had no idea what I was getting into. All I had to keep remembering was keep myself grounded and keep being me.
Yeah.
Because as you know, hype, egos, money, it all gets involved in this, you know what I mean? And people can change, and I've seen it happen, and in many ways, sometimes it's had a little effect on me. So to keep yourself grounded, to keep yourself on point to the cause, and that will create strength for the guys in Hull then. They can see what you're doing, mate, on so many different levels is so positive. I applaud you, mate, really do.
I say it's not me, it's Hull that's doing this. It's not me. You know, I'll be their spokesman as long as they want me to be. It's them that's doing it, not me.
Fair play to you. It does take an army, and this army are a positive army. I've met them myself. I mean, that night, the day when I come down, rather, and you had that fun day, explain about that, how successful that was. You raised over £1,300 that day.
Yeah, 1,300 and whatever it was. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, just as simple. It was a chat we had. Let's just do a tabletop sort of bring and buy sale, and obviously with your arrival as well. It was brilliant. £1,300 just from people selling their unwanted items, and then the donations were coming in. Then it was just amazing. Again, like I say,
Massive
the
support.
people have all just come out, and we had a tombola stall, and people were paying £1 for X amount of tickets, and then, oh look, I've won. Oh, leave it in there. Somebody else can try. They were just donating the money. They didn't want the prizes and things like that. It was just amazing to see, you know, lump in the throat when you see it. It really is. And then, like I say, we had the Scar night, £4,000 that night. Just ridiculous. It's just, you know.
People want to help, mate.
Oh, absolutely.
There's people who follow this, and people want to label people as extreme for having an avid interest in this subject. It's the biggest load of bull that you could ever. It's all about the kids. It's all about the girls. It's all about abuse. There's variable reasons for me personally following this, and I know with the masses of people that I've spoke to, it's the same thing. No doubt with Ben. Ben will give us his reason. And I do apologise, Ben will come back to you, mate, here very shortly. Mate, with this subject, I think that when you follow this, we've got to remember what the main principle is. It's to get awareness, it's to talk about these survivors, it's to get them help. And it's to give them empowerment in order to speak about this, in order to gain leverage, to then show people that these girls are not silent. There's one major reason I think that this has been able to go kind of noticed or for years, decades, is because the difficulty getting survivors to give the testimony, the way things have been set now, the way the police, the judiciary can make it so difficult with NFAs and, like you say, with blunders, what you were talking about before, about one of the survivors walking in to have some form of consultation and the abuser walks in who's having a booking on the same day. These failings, it makes it difficult that when an event like this happens to any young lady, they're not going to talk about it. There's not much of an environment. There's not somewhere where they can go, right, let's stand as numbers and we can now get this point spoke about. But I think, sorry for rambling on, with the safety of you guys and with armies like yours and like with what Ben's trying to do, this only empowers and encourages survivors. Probably a long rant there, but
yeah, no, it's right, because I've said before to you that when I first met the girls, they were very shy, sheepy, didn't say a great deal. Now they're vocal, they're very confident. You know, they're completely out themselves. They're so different than what they were in the beginning, purely because they've got the strength now. They've never had that strength before, or the fact that they always felt that they were never believed. That's what always comes out, what they always felt. We were never believed, but now we are.
So what hope does that give anyone else if that's the current climate?
Well, like I say,
you know what I'm saying?
The thing is, like I said, right from the beginning, there was only 3 survivors that ever came in the beginning to talk to me. And we're up to, I think it's 7, 8 now. And it's all because all the survivors in Hull seem to know each other. That was a weird, strange thing. But some of them won't come forward. Now, we had a new survivor who came forward at our last meeting. And it's the first time she'd ever been. And I was sat talking to her and said, well, why haven't you been up to now? You know these girls. Why haven't you? Well, I didn't know what to do. And I weren't sure if it was the right thing to do. She was just completely, she was like what the others were in the beginning, because she just didn't know what to expect, didn't know how we were going to take it, how we were going to believe her. All this, you could see it. She was unsure, but now she's very active within our WhatsApp group, and she's coming forward. She's going with us next week to get this therapy. She's come out of herself already within 3-4 weeks. It's because she now sees, you know, she came to the meeting and saw all these people and thinking, wow, you know,
Brilliant.
they're here because of us. You know, they're here to help us. And you could see the relief, almost if you could see it coming off of the relief. It's great.
I mean, we can't talk enough about the impact that will have on any survivor going from one to another, if you know what I mean. The different types of personalities at the beginning to all of a sudden they're shining.
Absolutely.
Because they're coming to terms, they're getting over it, they're finding ways of still being them and not having this affect their life in such a dramatic way. They're using whatever tools it is to lift themselves out. A true survivor.
Absolutely, absolutely true survivors. And like I said, if the group can do anything for any of these, we will. And you know, it might be something really small, but if we can do it, we will do it. Excellent.
Well, listen, Ian, I'm going to keep you in, but anytime you want to jump off, you can do, mate. Thank you very much for the update on what's going on in Hull. And obviously, as ever, you know what I mean? You're more than welcome anytime, but please stay on, at least while we talk to Ben, because you're going to be speaking at this very event that Ben has organised on the 27th of August in Manchester, am I right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's if I'm still invited. If God, he goes on them.
Oh, I'm sure you are. Well, without further ado, let's get him on. I'll mute you, mate, just to keep the reception cool so it doesn't start to wobble. But if you want to say anything, just kind of get a gesture over and I'll bring you in, mate, yeah?
Whereas, cheers, Bob.
All right, mate. Here we go. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm good, mate. Thanks for having us on, Phil. Nice one.
You're welcome, mate. Thank you very much for being so patient.
No, it's really great to be on the show. At this point, we're just trying to promote as much as possible. You know, we're in the final hurdle. We've only got like a week to go, so it's great to be on the show and get the idea out there and get the word out there, and hopefully a massive turnout for next week.
Certainly, mate. It's a subject that needs to be spoke about. What's your background with this? How did you get involved? What made you get active?
Right. Well, it's funny because it was a group of friends, all football, basically football lads. We went to go and see a friend of ours speak in Birmingham 2 years ago. It was a group called Save Our Children and Protect Us, which is folded since then. That was just before COVID hit, or in the height of COVID, even in 2020. It was kind of splintered. It fell apart. There was a lot of infighting and stuff. And myself and a couple of the lads who were going there to support a friend of ours speaking decided to take it over. And our idea is to make it the biggest and best children's movement. So like the umbrella covering all subjects, all little groups together, and massive events all in one place. It's all very well having, you know, all these little demos here, there and everywhere all over the country, but the real impact is when you hit together, and that's why we've called our organisation Unite for the Children. We're just, you know, we're patriots. A lot of the lads and the ladies that are on our team are parents as well, grandparents, and it's about caring for kids. And so we've got different subjects that are covered. You've got survivors speaking on the day about their horrific treatment and things they've gone through. Adult survivors like the Blair twins. I think everyone knows who the Blair twins are. Absolutely fantastic pair. They're just class. They travel everywhere. They've been telling their story and fighting for years and years. And I feel like for us, we are very, very passionate, the whole team, about making this work and coming together. We've got no gaffers. We've got no leaders on the firm. It's all about coming together and the ideas that we put in collectively, which is why we work so well, because we're a family that care for kids. You know what I mean?
Sure. It needs to be spoke about, sir. I mean, what other areas are you looking at travelling to? Is it just Manchester, or is there more areas?
No, we're going to hit Birmingham next year. So the background of it is last year we tried to do 4 demos. We toured. So we had, first of all, Manchester last April, which you were actually at that one. That's right. I spoke to you there. Then we went to Blackpool in June. and we were meant to do Glasgow and Leeds, but unforeseen circumstances, and we had to postpone the other two. Because you had Nicola Sturgeon that wouldn't let us into Scotland for one of the reasons. But we are going to tour, but we want to hit the major cities. So we think the most impact will come by, first of all, hitting Manchester and getting a big turnout for that, and then we're gonna travel to Birmingham next year, and then the final big one will be hitting London, and we're looking at taking over Trafalgar Square.
That'd be cool. I mean,
So,
what's your opinion on what Ian and I have been speaking about in terms of the grooming issue becoming more prevalent in the press, and people want to be seen to be doing things? Do you think that's valid? Do you think they're honest about this?
I don't know if I think when you watch GB News now, you've got something in the background. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. I don't know what's going on. Hold on. Sorry about that. For some reason, I had music playing in my ears. My Spotify turned on. So you've got GB News are finally recognising it. When you watch on there, you've got a fella, I can't think of his name now, who we contacted months and months ago, who was still running a talk radio show, and he was very, very involved and very, very passionate about the idea and bringing it up and bringing it to the forefront. And what Ian's doing is inspirational, because I think it is opening people's eyes. And bringing people forwards for it, and finally getting people to take notice of what's been happening in all these towns, and the severity of it.
No, I get you, mate, and it almost become a little bit of a contest. Can you hear me, sir? Are you here? Can you hear the audio, Ben? Always Ben's dropped off. The audio's gone. Can you hear me, mate? Ben? Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, that didn't go too well, did it, Ian?
Right.
At least you still want me, mate. Jesus Christ, I'm starting to take this personal at the moment.
It must be the weather, Phil. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, mate. That's what I'd love to think. It's, no, I'm sure it is. It's just he's had issues. He's been in and out. Here we go. He's back on again.
I don't know what's happened there.
It's all right, sir. You're back. I thought you'd gone for good there, mate. I probably won't blame you. 101 things to do, having chatting to me.
I don't know what happened there. I don't know what you heard of what I was saying, because I kind of carried on speaking, even then I realised that no one could hear me.
Well, we were just talking about the different areas, and you were commending Ian on his work, his sterling work. And what I'd like to do to broaden it a little bit, I do believe it got a little bit fashionable because certain areas were hyped up, and not a lot's happened in any one of them areas, but it was exposed. And all the while, there were people in the background saying it's not the only town and city, it's going on here, there, and reeling them off. And they wasn't getting that coverage. And every time someone wanted to speak about it, they were just batted down. Whereas now I feel a climate of big areas are now coming to the fore. So there's not just one now, there's not just two, there's not just three, there's four. And the more that keep coming up like this makes it to the point where not only do they have to touch it, but then the bigger question is, why is this happening in all of these areas? Which I know is something that we've known for years, but it's becoming more public knowledge now because of the exposure of the multiple areas.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can only be a good thing as well that people are finally opening their eyes to what has been going on for years and years and years. These girls have been ignored. These cities have been ignored, and the subject has been brushed under the carpet. You know, it's a taboo to even mention them. Meanwhile, these brave girls are there suffering by themselves, thinking that nobody cares about them and that that they've been abandoned.
Yes. Lifestyle choices. Remember that statement? You just generally sweep and slap a whole section of society because they've been exploited in this way, that either you're that callous and unsympathetic and got no empathy at all, or it's a political hot potato and the best way to portray these people is just to assassinate their character. Now it's turning the other way because of the exposure of all the failings. The character assassination is now starting to go all the way up to the different levels that done piss all about this for decades, leading to such a problem now where both prime ministerial candidates are now semi-pledging to talk about it, which it might be nothing and people can be cynical, and I'm one of them, it might come to nothing. The fact that they've done it speaks volumes for me.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
So I guess we'll just see where it goes. So I do believe Billy Howard will be speaking on your night as well.
That's correct. Yeah, Billy. We've got Billy speaking from PAG, who spoke at both of our previous events as well. Billy does a hell of a lot of work in Rochdale, and the kind of the work that he puts in and his team put in is again phenomenal. It's giving people hope, and he's pushing pushing Rochdale Council. He's done some little sort of pop-up demos in outside Rochdale Police Station. You need people like Billy, like Ian in these places who are going to keep pushing and keep asking questions. Whereas our role kind of is a little bit different. We're offering the platform for Ian and Billy to be able to speak. They're campaigners. They're fantastic campaigners. We've also then got survivors who are telling their story for the first time, and we're offering that chance to wherever they come from to be able to do that in a comfortable and safe environment, feeling that they can come forward and talk the same sort of thing. But there is so many that are ignored, and this subject is ignored on a wide scale. Not just grooming. You've got Alan Merritt, for instance, in the Beach Home children's home, where he was horrifically abused as a child. Well, he goes around the country speaking, so he's going to be one of our speakers as well. You've got Kimberly Isherwood, who is Child Protective, in the full name of it, it's the Welsh Child Protective Services, and she deals with the sexualization of children in schools. So she's fighting against that because they're teaching young children. You don't need to teach 4-year-olds about sexual positions and all that sort of stuff. It's disgusting. It's sick, and it's a form of paedophilia in itself.
Well, what's uncomfortable about it, mate? It says a lot on a psychological level. We've known from the days of Pi that they would love to legalise or at least take the stigma away from paedophilia. Now, the way they're trying to do it is with some form of Marxism by sexualising children and inviting the children to believe that they've got their own role in this. So, in fact, it's consensual rather than, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look at the media backs it up, and you look at the pop stars, they back it up the way they dress. You look at, just the way society is, it's geared up for sexualizing kids at a young age. So you look at it and you look at the lack of really wanting accountability and get to the bottom line. Well, maybe because their belief in paedophilia is not shared like our belief, where it's repulsed and it should be banished out of our society. Absolutely. Yeah, go on, mate. Sorry.
No, I was going to say on that note, you've got, I don't know where the pictures are now, but I did share them on our Facebook group. You've got on Amazon, and this is a major corporation actively selling paedophilic children's clothes for young children as young as sort of 4, 5, 6, with pictures on and the words "I love cock."
See,
Yeah.
you know.
So
What I'd like to do there, Ben, is for any liberal that's going to validate that, yeah, I would love to say, right, okay, as a social experiment, you buy that T-shirt online, so you're not doing it in a shop. You put it on your kid, and you walk, onto a bus. How many people are going to want you report you because of the way, you know what I mean? But yet this agenda is normalized. That's what I don't get. It's like speaking out of both sides of your mouth. Either you're against paedophilia or you're not. When you're doing that, that clearly tells me that you want to sexualize children.
yeah.
And with the fact that you don't address what is going on in society sufficiently to knock it out the psyche, whether it can be, that's another issue.
Yeah, it is, and the people that do turn a blind eye, in my eyes, the people that would refuse this and turn a blind eye and just sort of shrug and say, "Oh well," and accept this new thing as well, the minor attracted person. That's just basically it's meant to be a sexual orientation, the same way that, say, gay, lesbian, straight, or whatever. They say that love is love. Not when it comes to children. It's not. You're a sick freak. There's no two ways about it. And if you enable that, you may not be attracted to children yourself, but by enabling that, in my eyes, you're a sick freak as well. And I don't care if that offends people or not. You are a sick freak if you enable other people who are attracted to children. They are sick. They've got a mental illness, and it's not a case of, oh well, they're now attracted to children. Let's put that in the LGBT community. It's not a sexual orientation. You could be attracted to an adult of whatever gender that might be. When you start saying you're attracted to children, you are a paedophile, and there is no other words for it.
No, it's true, mate. It's true. Like I say, it's almost like they're merging the two.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It is when you look at the bigger picture, and like I say, if you offset it and go, well, if I was to practice half of what these guys, my neighbours would report me within an hour. And there'd be, half a dozen of them at the door saying, if you don't, you know what I mean? Whatever. It's just repulsive behaviour. And what's it going to do in terms of confusing children in the future if you're inputting this and this type of normality and lowering the bar at this level? Kids will explore anyway, but if you set the bar that low, the exploration journey might not befit everyone. But in terms of consensual sex, it should be an age that is consensual, where the over 18, over 16 rather, you know what I mean? It shouldn't be inputted in the way that it is to young children, mate. I totally agree with you.
That's exactly right. And we're trying our best that we possibly can to make this non-political, but we can say this. Then this is fact. There are Labour MPs campaigning to lower the age of consent. There are Tories guilty of paedophilia, as we know in the media and the news at the moment, breaking with high level MPs in the Tory party that are touching children or are guilty of conversing with young children. Well, it is what it is. You call a spade, and they're guilty on both sides. But for the Labour MPs that I've seen, they're the ones actively campaigning to lower the age of consent. It seems to be, and we're trying our best not to be labelled here, because we want to keep this whole movement grassroots and non-political as much as possible. But it seems to be that the left are the ones that enable the paedophilic tendencies for the rest.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, mate, I don't think any party comes out of it totally squeaky on this subject because sexual deviance runs right through the halls of power, and that is the sad thing, that we've got people that we trust with authority, and particularly it's ironic, the same people that you're asking to maybe cover a certain sexual case could be a sexual deviant themselves. So if that's not a conflict of interest, I don't know what is. So in many ways, because of this, mate, you can see how the lack of justice is administered, and you can also see why we don't seem to want to talk about this, as in getting true accountability for all the individuals. I'll never forget Jimmy Savile and the kerfuffle that transpired with that to try and get a body of people to discuss this. And because of the 6 degrees of separation, it kept breaking down, because every time they got someone else into this fucking soiree, that there was a conflict of interest because of all the compartmentalized powers that were involved in this. So in the end, they shelved a lot of it. And if I'm right, I might be wrong here, but I think I'm right. They shelved it under the term national security. You get, am I right there, Ian? Yeah, Ian's just nodded there.
Yeah, I remember reading that, yeah.
I mean, you know, so does that not show you how serious they are about combating this? But you'll look at any news outlet and they'll love to mention how they're all over Jimmy Savile and the victims, and they think it's abhorrent, and they've got half a dozen people who have now come out and prostrated, said we didn't know. But are they truly serious about getting to the bottom of it?
No. It's the same. It's the same when you think about the Epstein's Island, and are we ever really gonna see the client list? Are we ever gonna see that released? You know, and Maxwell Gillian or whatever her name is. You know, it ain't job done with that. You know, it's not over. And to me, again, that's a cop out, and people want to see what's really happened and how far it goes and how high to the top it goes. But are we going to see it? No, we're never going to find out. We're never going to know who's really behind all of this. And with Jimmy Savile, I truly believe that the people at the top knew the entire time and allowed it to take place. It's all very well now the man's dead, but it's okay to now start saying, oh, we care and we want to get to the bottom of it. But you didn't want to get to the bottom of it while he was abusing countless amounts of young girls.
It's a secret that they couldn't open that jar, Ben. They couldn't open it. Look how it would make the establishment look. Because if you truly then start to dissect and analyse each individual, not only on their failings, but how much they participated in all this or facilitated it. Mate, we're talking about failings now. Imagine what that full inquiry would have uncovered. That's why it didn't go ahead. Because we're hearing it now with Odin, we're hearing it now with Telford, we're hearing it, obviously, Hull, that's yet to come. You know what I mean? I don't want to be pessimistic here, but I do believe it's a bin lid they don't want to release, mate, because it's going to stink. But I have got optimism. One, because the story is getting more and more out there and they can't dodge it now, and it's coming up in the halls of power. And it's come up in a way that, whereas 3 years ago when I was covering marches, Ben, any MP that was talking about this was labelled as a racist. They were labelled as far right. If you were talking about grooming, you were talking about sexual exploitation. I can name two right off the bat now, but I'm not going to do it. There wasn't, but that's the way they were branded, because it wasn't very fashionable to talk about this subject. Now, like Ian says, they're all jumping over each other to say how bad it is. So that's something, even if, but then they can be held to account for that as well, Ben.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got my own ideas on how you can at least start to combat the grooming issue. And that it can't be completely blamed on one group of people, but when you've got thousands upon thousands of people coming in. This is a completely separate issue, coming in through Dover and places like that. Do we not think that these people are if you put a stop to that, do you not think that we're gonna put in some way a stop to the future grooming of children? Because we shouldn't be afraid to say who's responsible for it. Especially when you look at grooming gangs, and you should be able to come out and say who have been doing it to young girls for years upon years upon years. Telford, Hull, Rochdale, whatever. And yet we're flooding the shores with more potential child groomers.
Of course, mate. You've got to ask a bigger question. If this is happening at such a rate, then you've got to work out why it's happening, who's doing it, and you can't be afraid. I mean, how can any let's put it this way, mate. If you was this afraid, like they are about really opening the lid on this, if you were that afraid about doing that with any case or any criminality, nothing would ever get solved, Ben.
No.
Because at some point you'd actually, well, we better not that rule, we better talk that one down, we better do this, you know what I mean? And it's like, so people know now that you're actually withholding stuff, the failings, whether it's done by design or whether, this is truly a resource thing. Either way, it's out of the back.
It's like anything, if they wanted to put more effort into it and really source it, they really could. And it's disgusting, or that it's being left to the normal everyday man or woman to try and fix this issue.
I totally agree with you. I mean, that goes back, and that brings a good point to bring Ian in. As Ian mentioned before, he was just a normal citizen. I was just a normal citizen, mate. I went to a march because of an event that happened on my birthday, the 22nd of May. My favourite number is 22. So on a spiritual level, this pulled me in. The response that video got, which wasn't, it was a very much a spontaneous event. It wasn't anything that was contrived. It battered and freaked me the hell out for weeks, mate. I then got a channel going, and just all of a sudden I punched out the bag in terms of, I don't mind you seeing my face and me telling you how I feel about this. You're not going to intimidate me. You're not going to tell me that I'm a racist, so I'll go and run for the hills. And if you want to phone my boss, I'll tell my boss what the fuck I've done. And I guarantee my boss will go, right, Phil, I knew it was that, but I just had to check. So I'm not scared of anyone. And that's probably my own freaking fault, but it's what's pushed me forward. That's what I'm like as a character anyway. And I can also see with this subject how it will scare people. So I commend people like yourself, Ben, like Ian, like Debbie Barrett-Cole, who should have been coming on tonight, but she represents Oldham. She's had a lot of exposure on GB News as well, talking about Oldham and the way she's been treated by Oldham Council. People like Ian, and all other representatives who are speaking about this up and down the country. You know what I mean, mate? All coming together, like you say, unite for the kids.
That's what it should be about, and that's why we chose that. So the umbrella there should be able to cover all of the groups coming together in one place at one time, and we could really scare the establishment if enough of us are there. It's all very well. You can put a demo on for 20 people, and you're not making that much of an effort. When we could possibly march on Parliament and eventually hit Trafalgar Square, as I mentioned earlier, with thousands of us. They've got to take notice. They ignored us when we were with the FLA, and I was with the FLA and Ian as well. They ignored us, and there was a media blackout of 70,000 football lads on the streets of London. I mean, it gives me goosebumps every time I think about it now, because we were out there trying to make a difference, and the establishment, although they were shitting themselves, they were scared. They ignored us.
They did, because there's not a lot they could have done to stop it, but it wasn't the justification to call them wrong-uns wasn't fulfilled, because what surprised me, I was there on that day, it was a momentous occasion, and it's never hit them heights ever since with any march I've ever covered. Maybe the freedom marches, But particularly on a C.S.E. event, and particularly talking about this issue and the bombings and what was going on, I've never seen anything like that. But what was great, Ben, about that is people have got to visualise how fruity some different football club crews are and can be, with percentage elements within all of them, and my club included, has to be said. Having said that, when you get any crews together, there's always a susceptibility of violence. Now, what Ben is illustrating, and I will second that, it was almost like, well, it was, because I remember being spoke about at the time. There was a question of, we're not here for that. We're not, it's not even like a truce, I guess, but I remember different crews walking side by side down London, down all the different streets. And there was no issue. There was no like, I'm bigger than you. Everyone was just there. It was solidarity. And that was probably, well, it was, mate. It was before the splinters started to appear, which was very sad. And it has been, let's face it, it's been happening ever since with all manner of different groups as well over the past 6 or 7 years.
It has. It's you know what, the veterans have got the same splintered environment as well. So you can never get all the veterans groups together. The football lads, now you're never going to get certain people walking with other certain people, and it's the bad blood is just too bad now. But that day was special because it was put aside. You know, and the children's movement's no different. You need to put your egos aside. At the end of the day, if we're truly all here fighting for children, then there should be no egos involved. And there should be no he said, she said. It astounds me that survivors can slag off other survivors, because we're seeing that within the children's movement as well. And it's the back and forth and the backbiting and the bickering and whatever. When we should be all uniting together to save future children from these things happening.
It's people questioning the validity of whether they're a survivor, and then going as far to say, are they a true survivor? So then it's a point scoring thing. And I know everyone needs to validate facts and make sure that whatever claims people are making, they can back them up. That's one thing. But particularly what we're seeing online over the years is just blind attacks from people who have got the wrong end of the stick about vicious rumours that may have been circulated, or just misinformation that's been circulated. And then that's just started a war, which is the opposite of what Ian is finding now. Ian is slowly but surely having survivors approach him, and he's managing to help and be supportive for them. That environment that we're talking about, Ben, as the ultimate opposite, and it makes them retreat and never want to come out again. It's more trouble than it's worth.
Well, we're hoping that we can provide an environment, I think, with everyone being able to get along. If you can see that people are getting along and people are, they can come to us because we're offering that professional, family type environment where people can come up and speak and can feel like we're doing things the right way and organising. We're organising these demos in a professional and inviting way. Then I think more people will come out. And that's what we want to see. You've got other little events where you've got bickering at the event. We're not going to stand for that. We're not going to. We're there purely for what it's business. That's what we need to think about. Like you don't run things like that. It's professional, and in order for people to want to come and be involved and speak and feel comfortable to tell their story, they need to see that you are professional and you are there to do things the right way and help.
Yeah, it's imperative, otherwise it goes backwards. I mean, what would you say to that, Ian? And then quickly we'll go to a promo video you've got there, Ben. But Ian, have you got anything that you'd like to add to that?
What I picked up on, like what we were both talking about in the march in London all them years ago. 70,000. I remember stood at King's Cross and there's a riot van full of Met police, and we were talking to them, as you do, quite pleasantly. And one of them turned around and says, "All I like to say is thanks for the overtime." He says, "We've been sat here all day, bored out of our heads, because not one wrong word's been said." And it just stuck with me, 70,000 proper football lads and laughing and joking and buying each other pints. And it's something you would never see again, going for one cause. It'd be absolutely amazing if Ben and Unite for the Children can replicate that for this cause. To imagine going down Trafalgar Square with 70,000 people from groups such as ours from all over the country, all merging as one. That is just something amazing. I was just sat thinking about it and just imagining how good that would be.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. I mean, it's a long road. Let's be realistic here. To get this out on a national level where you're going to get people that will come and support this, it's a big ask. All we can do is just get awareness out in any way that we can, in a repetitive nature. One, for me, to let survivors know that you're there and you've not forgot what they're going through, even if the world chooses not to look. And two, just tell people that, even if the authorities don't want to cover it sufficiently, there are people that are not getting accountability, and not getting the justice that they deserve as well. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It's a massive road in it, Ian. I mean, let's not be under any illusions here about anything that we've said tonight as well. Same again, I'm not being pessimistic here, because there are positives about what's happened over the past few weeks.
And then another thing, what was making notes while you were talking, and the other one was what you were saying, that we're out there to try to protect our children, or the children. It's irrelevant whose children, it doesn't matter. But we saying being labelled as racist, etc. I mean, you saw it on our march there, Phil, of the counter-protest. Unbelievable. How can they counter-protest about something we were doing? It just beggars belief. The letters that were sent to various people regarding myself and my involvement with the FLA, the DLFA, this, we've covered that on previous shows, but it's just laughable. They're just clutching at straws, trying to bring us down for whatever reason, whatever agenda they've got. It's obviously they don't care about children, in my opinion.
Well, they can't by their ultimate actions, and they can't just say the one that they used to always say, well, there's more white paedophiles. So, even if that is the case, right? No one's denying that, first of all. And two, does that now mean that you can't talk about this because there seems to be more white paedophiles? I mean, what if this was a very minute problem 30, 40 years ago, and now because of the numbers, it's got to where it's got? Is that not justification to really get to the bottom of this? Because it's only going to get bigger and bigger, isn't it, Ian?
The last 4 cases in the last 3 weeks in Hull, there's been 4 cases that's come up at court, and out of them 4, 3 of them were white, pure English males.
Right.
And we'll fight against them as much as we will anybody else. It's irrelevant to us. A paedophile's a paedophile, irrelevant of colour, creed, race, anything. And that's what they don't seem to understand. It's they try to bring everybody down these days. It's irrelevant what you say. Oh, you're transphobic, you're homophobic, you're racist, all because you have a passion or you have a belief. That's not their belief.
Because you can see it, mate. You can see it. Because we're in a world now where you can't express your opinions the way you would like, even if it's with consideration and balance, because of the paradigms that are attached to this bollocks. So before you know it, you're right, I'm left, and it becomes this stupid kind of ping pong. When they do that, the actual crime is still the crime. Take the politics out of it, you would say the same thing if it was any other child. In fact, when it comes to grooming as well, it's not only white children that have been groomed. There was a lot of Sikh children that were groomed.
Yeah.
And maybe still are. Who knows? Because we're never going to get, or we've not got this review on a national level that really breaks down these statistics. No one could tell me how many people nationally. No one could tell me the correlation of all the perpetrators that have been. You know, there's so many figures and stats that we're not privy to because they haven't even collated them.
There was an article I was reading the other day. I can't remember where I'd read it, if it was online or in a new, but it was also about the Romani children in, I think it was Sheffield, all being trafficked for sex, and the families actually selling the children and things like this in their community. Now, I don't know where I've read it or the truth behind it or anything. It was just something I read. I mean, it's rife wherever you go.
Yeah, just don't want to touch it.
Every nationality, every religion, everything.
Yeah,
and it's irrelevant. It's wrong. And I said this before: if it wasn't for the likes of us and all the good people that are within our groups, it'll be in 20, 30 years. If we didn't stamp on it now, it'll become the norm.
No, yeah, totally see it, mate. Totally see it. Standards have dropped. The bar's dropped massively.
Yeah.
So you can see that there's a window for that being pushed if people are not vocal about what they say.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, 10 years ago, mate, when you play a tune and it had the N word in it, people would go up in arms.
Yeah.
Now you hear it on the radio and it's no biggie now. You know what I mean? Because people have been desensitized to getting used to hearing it. It slips out more and more now, and they're not bothered because they know it's there.
Yeah.
You know, whereas you educate these rappers and educate the girls that are now becoming these toys of A&Rs that are just dressing them up as sexual beings. And you can have a whole new music form that will educate, it'll give them entertainment, but it's got an actual positive message.
No, absolutely.
But no, it doesn't sell. So August, mate, I'm going on and on here. Ben, sir,
Yeah.
one thing, I'm going to jump to your video here. Is there anything you'd like to say before I play it?
Yeah, just on a separate subject, just quickly, a friend of ours who's a campaigner and unfortunately cannot be at Manchester this time. She's just suffered a stroke last weekend, so I just want to give a shout out to her. It's Anne Gamble Anderson. So she's a fantastic campaigner, and her daughter Jade. They campaign for Anne's grandson Jace, who was abused as a young child, and they're still trying to campaign now for justice for Jace. So I really want to just give a quick shout out for her and say we're going to miss her in Manchester, and miss them both in Manchester. She was one of our regular speakers. So just before I forget, hopefully she gets well soon, and we see her at the next one.
Speedy recovery. Hope she's got the help and support that she needs. So this video, mate, just give people a little bit of an intro into what this video is all about, basically.
This is our promo video. So this has got clips of our past events, bits and pieces from last year in Manchester and Blackpool, where you can see some of the speakers, little snippets of speeches from featuring Billy from PAG, featuring the Blair twins. So it's just a promo to get people to, you can see how we're going to go about things.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, here we go, guys. Thank you, Ben. Nice one, Ben.
My little sister, who was sexually assaulted under the age of 13.
And the police here, why aren't they after every pedo It's going to come down to each and every single one of us here to start protecting our young kids.
Just under 5 years, and that includes rapists who sexually assault children. Do you think 5 years is long enough for them in prison? Do you think 5 years is justice for a victim?
My abuse happened in the Midlands. Now, we all heard about what happened here and across most cities in this country. And so far, statistically, they estimate 19,000 of us have been groomed, trafficked, raped, abused, and in many cases, we have been exchanged for money.
What was happening in my town of Rochdale? They'll tell you 3 girls were groomed. I'm going to tell you there were 49. There was 49 girls that were groomed, not 3. They were told us there was 9 men arrested. There wasn't 9 men, there was 1,200 men. And there's many more still on the streets of Rochdale.
But he's still innocent in his eyes. Now you tell me what innocent man would say he's guilty of raping a child? Now I hope and pray that justice will be done while somebody has had him in jail. That would be my justice. Thank you.
That is why we are demanding a minimum of 25 years in prison for all child predators. And we will get survivors of child abuse the justice they deserve.
This is a start, and let's make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And let's start doing this. And every time, every city, every day in this country, until the fucking government is the message.
Excellent. Excellent. So that's the 27th of August, Piccadilly Gardens, 2 o'clock then, is that right?
That's right. The speeches will start at 2 o'clock.
Mate, we'll leave it there just because this has been going on for 1 hour 20. I want to kind of get it nice and concise so I can get onto the Facebook channel. But I thank you both for your time tonight. And thank you, Ben. First time I've met you this evening, mate. Thanks for hanging in there. Is there any other information that you want to give out in terms of links to a Facebook page or any of the media outlets or anything like that?
We have got a Facebook page, yeah. Unfortunately, with the leaflet, unlike Ian's, who's got a barcode on his to be able to link to it, we don't have that. So if you are going to be in Manchester, we'll be handing out the leaflets and stuff. But our page, if anyone wants to be added to it, we'll have to speak to the admins and speak to the people. There'll be people there. All of us will be in yellow high-vis or pink high-vis, and to come over and speak to us, and we can add you to the Facebook group. So the Facebook group is Unite for the Children. So I'm not sure if we're easy to find or not, just through searching. But anyone who wants to join can search by all means and join us.
If you send me a link, mate, via WhatsApp, I can add it to this on this channel and also on me Facebook as well.
Oh yeah, I could do that.
Excellent, sir. Excellent,
Yeah,
mate.
brilliant.
Mate, I think you need to get some kip, don't you? Apparently, you've only had 2 hours kip over the past 24 hours, is it? Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. I was at work last night. I'm being wrong. I was at work last night. I got up yesterday afternoon, and I got home today at like 4 o'clock. 2 hours sleep, shower, and straight onto the show. So, you know, I wasn't going to let you down.
Well, no, thank you, mate. Thank you. For knowing that, I would have obviously, suggested you get some rest over doing it. We can do this any day. So thank you. It only shows your passion for doing this.
Yeah, I do truly believe in it. We've got a week left, and this is all hands on deck, and we need to push this as hard as possible. You know, I said this before. We owe it to the survivors who are brave enough to come up and stand there and tell their story. We owe it to them to be there to support them while they do it. So as much as we can push this and get people interested, that's what I'm there to do.
Brilliant. Well, I'll be there, mate. I'll be covering it, and obviously, well done to anyone else who's involved in trying to push this as well. Ian's going to be there. I think Deborah is going to come down from Oldham. Billy, I think he's going to be there. I know he's just had some really bad news in terms of his family. So my best goes out and condolences to the Howard family. So we'll have to see how that one pans out. I'm sure he'll be there, though, because I know what Billy's like.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, all the best to Billy. I didn't realise that. We'll have to.
Yeah, I didn't really want to talk about it. I mentioned his name before, so I've probably got to put the bookends on it. He was due to come here tonight, but he got some really bad news. There's been a bereavement in his family. So yeah, clearly, you know, his mind is going to be on his family and the emotional well-being at this time. So yeah, my thoughts go out to him and the family and the people of Rochdale. Billy will be back. You know what he's like. He never gives anything up. So he'll be back before you know it, stronger than ever.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yes, mate, with that, listen, Ben, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, pal. I'll do what I can to spread the word, obviously, in the next few days moving up to it. But other than that, I shall see you on the day. Pray for good weather. Pray that the world is listening.
Brilliant, mate. Thanks again so much for having us on. Do appreciate it. Anyone who gives us the time to be able to do this is brilliant. Thank you again, Phil. And Ian, always good listening to you. Again, as I said, you're an inspiration to us for what you do, mate. And I'll see you both in just over a week's time.
Nice one, mate. Nice one. Big love to your family, mate. You take care.
Thank you. You too. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.
Wow. Well, right, Ian. Any last words you'd like to say, mate? Same again. I'll echo it. Thank you for your time on this. I know it's everyone's got busy lives and we've all got things that we could be doing. So well done to you, mate. Nice one.
I've been, obviously I work quite closely with Ben. I've done for the last, really since we started. You know, he's been right from the beginning. Has been in the background. There's a lot for me. And it's great for, I'm part of them on their admin WhatsApp and keeping informed with everything that's going. And the way they've organised it's absolutely amazing. It's brilliant. Be a good event. It really will be a good event. And obviously United All will be there. We've just had the new leaflets printed ready for our march on the 17th September. March, our static demo. We're just doing a static this time. So I don't know if you're going to be able to get up for that one, but I know Ben and a few others are coming up for that. So and hopefully we can get some interest while we're there in Manchester and make it bigger.
I'll certainly try my best, mate. I like to follow through. You know what I mean? I certainly would love to come back up there. It's the least I can do. It's hopefully I can just fit it in. I haven't got anything on me agenda as such yet. So, mate, it shouldn't be a problem at all. Be able to do what I can. We could talk about it before the event as well. Do like what we're doing tonight and drum up as much support as possible.
Definitely. I spoke to Sharon briefly. Well, a couple of messages with Sharon. She's hoping to get down.
Good.
And I know Karen's is travelling up from London as well.
Good.
You know, because I said to them when I spoke to them, they've been there from the beginning. So it'd be good to come up and see, what progress we've made. Obviously, I keep them informed of how things are going, but it'd be good to have them back again.
Yeah, because I guess it was very grassroots the last time we were all there, Sharon, Karen and I.
Yeah,
exactly. Was pretty much, that was the first ever march you'd organised, wasn't it? Am I right in saying that?
The first one I'd organised?
Yes.
Yeah. I've just used it at the end.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is that all the water under a bridge now and the money you've raised, the contacts that you've met, the networking, that journey again. We're getting back to that. It's be great to see the developments.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like I say, I've got an amazing city, you know, behind me as it is. The admin team are great. They've all got their own individual. You know, my one is my mainstay is the spokesperson for the group, and the networking. You know, I'm the one who goes out and speaks to yourself, Ben, Karen, Sharon, get myself out there. Debbie. I mean, Debbie came to our meeting the other week.
So I believe, how did it go? The meeting with Debbie, was it okay?
One in the west of the city. Not as good turnout as I was hoping, but we did the same in Eastall, and that was slow to begin, but we've got a good crowd that turn up there now. We've got a couple of events coming on. We've got a race night coming up at the Westall one with one of Hull's ex-footballers, Hull City's football player, Dean Windus. He's coming along as a meet and greet. So we've got quite a few more fundraising things to come up with. So yeah, it's going well. It's, you know, we're all busy. We've all got our own lives, but the minute we speak about United Hull, do they drop everything else and they're straight there? You know, if anybody needs anything, it's just a quick phone call, quick text, and everybody's there. It's amazing, brilliant. You know?
Well, what I love about your organisation, mate, is that your footprint is not only positive but proactive.
Yes.
You're actually doing things and moving forward. More things are happening, more opportunities. You know, it's changing, but for the good. You know, so I'd like to commend you, just like Ben, for what you're doing. Keep up the good work, mate, and no doubt, as ever, whatever I can do to help, you've only got to holler.
Yeah, no, I know that. Yeah, it's much appreciated, Phil. You know, I mean, getting the word out there for us as you do, it's, you know, second to none. It's brilliant.
We all stick together, mate, and we can see over the past couple of weeks, just having everyone representative of their own areas, how powerful that is. So if I'm just a conduit here, mate, Jesus, it's easy.
I mean, at the beginning, we were just, you know, it was just, there was an issue in Hull. We approached that issue, come up with United Hull. We're known throughout the country now, you know, especially with the likes of getting involved with Ben and his group. And then it's, you know, it's people who text me from all over the country, get in touch with me and support. And, you know, we've got members on the group from Australia, America, that have seen it on the likes of with yourself, or they picked it from someone else. They've got into the group, joined, keeping active, sending messages of support and things like that. It's great, amazing, absolutely amazing.
Empowers you to carry on, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. Yeah, it does. But one word from the girls, and that just reminds me why I'm here.
Indeed, mate.
All it is, absolutely, you know.
Yeah.
You're
improving their lives moving forward. That's the best, isn't it?
They've enriched my life. That's a fact.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Nice one, Ian. Mate, it's always a pleasure to speak to you. I'm going to recoil back into the darkness now, as you can see here. I have got a light over there, but you can see it's not very illuminating, my friend. I'm disappearing. You know, the moon's going to turn up at the back of me in a minute. You say it's not very professional, is it, mate? As the stream, when I'm editing it, you want to see how funny it looks, because at the beginning it's all bright. How are you doing, guys? At the end, I'm in pitch black like this. Oh, Jesus Christ, I have to sort that out. But, mate, it's been an honour and a pleasure, mate. You take care. And like I say, just keep in touch and let us know on any developments, and hopefully catch up with you in Manchester next week on the 27th.
On the 27th, yeah. I'll probably speak to you before.
Okie dokie, pal. Nice one, mate. You have a good evening, yeah?
Well, mate, thanks very much, mate.
See you later, dude.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Right, I am literally going to go, because I'm in darkness and it's just not on this, is it? You know what I mean? How many interviews do you know that are in the dark? Don't really work, does it? Well said, Ben. Yeah, well said. And I'm sure that was for something. Oh, wow. Man, there you go. I'm assuming that is for Ben's group, is it? And thank you anyway, Rob, for that. Thanks, mate. You know, you're a star. Thank you to everyone for taking the time out to watch this. This will be going on Red Pill Phil on Facebook as well. A massive, massive thank you to Katie Jane Swallow and all the help and support. childrensmatter.news. With all of these groups, guys, it's imperative that you show your support by liking and sharing what they do. And if you can attend any of their marches, any of their meetings, then do try, because as you can see, if we do get vocal, if we do make people known, it's known to people that this is going on, it's only going to make it more visible. And with that, they can't deny it. I do feel a tide is turning. Is that a bit too premature? Who knows? Time will tell. Other than that, love you all, guys, even the pissing haters. God bless you. Take care.
I love you. 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 I love you.
Even the pissing haters.
I love you. 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 I love you.